Hello again, it's your friend and neighborhood host JT Wheatley back with another episode of the History Comics Podcast, this time with another edition of Classics with The Rocketeer, The Complete Adventures by Dave Stevens. This was a series that was originally produced by Dave Stevens as a backup feature, first appearing back in 1982 on the Pacific Comics in the what was then Mike Grail's Star Slayer #2 series, and essentially has since though his own cult following, so much so that Walt Disney itself would develop it into the 1991 classic film The Rocketeer, which is still one of the best adaptations of a comic book movie ever made. Just a great film beginning to end, great casting, and a brilliant score by James Horner. But the story itself is pretty straightforward. Basically, in the 1938, Cliff Secord, who is a stunt pilot, discovers a rocket pack that allows him to fly around and fight crime, and dubs the name the Rocketeer, though he gets into more trouble than actually fighting crime, and also it interferes with his aspiring actress girlfriend Betty, who is very much a send-up to the great pin-up girl Betty Page at the time. And it just makes for some fun, action-packed adventures. Stevens' writing and art is fantastic. Perfect. It's almost a perfect adaptation of those classic pulp adventures of the back in the 1930s and 40s. So much so that many have actually thought this was a character from the 1930s and 40s, but no, he was created in 1982. But the send-up is so perfectly well done. There's also these great, and the stories has great tributes to those pulps. Like at one point, the Rocketeer teams up with a guy who's, they say without saying it, he's pretty much the Shadow. And it's a very cool crossover. Lots of fun in general. Yeah, if you're looking for like a classic comic book that's just as good as the movie it was adapted into, look no further than The Rocketeer, The Complete Adventures by Dave Stevens, who sadly passed away in 2008 due to complications from cancer. He was a truly talented artist, but thankfully we have these great stories to look back on. So, you're looking for a good comic book? Check out The Rocketeer, The Complete Adventures, because that is a true classic.
More positive than a New Day pancake. More fun than a super kick party. It's the wrestling podcast from the host, who is the hammer swinging, burrito eating, well, you know the rest, of Thunder Talk. Sexy Thor! It's the Ring of Thunder, found in the Thunderverse and among the great podcasts of the ESO network.
Now is September 22nd, 2022, time for the favorite comic book of the week. Exterminators #1 by Leah Williams and Carlos Gomez. That starts off innocently enough when the Dazzler, after a bad breakup, asks Jubilee and Boom Boom to join her on a girls' night out, only to, be kidnapped by vampires, and it gets crazier from there. Williams is having a lot of fun with this story setup. Basically, advertising this is going to be a violent, curse-filled, technically don't really curse. You see them black out all the words in the word balloons. But it's a fun group, and the grouping of Dazzler, Jubilee, and Boom Boom, characters who are not usually used as much as in the X universe, play off great together. And especially matched with Gomez's art, which is nicely detailed and action-packed. Kind of reminds me of the old Image days, only with actually good storytelling. No, that's not fair. Some of the Image books had good storytelling, but this is really well done. A lot of fun. And especially with that cliffhanger, it's only going to get weirder and crazier, so I can't wait for the next issue. I'm not sure where this story is going, but already it's a lot of fun. And considering how overly complicated the X books have gotten, it's nice to have a nice, straightforward, fun series with some of their characters. So yes, looking for a fun read, check out Exterminators #1. And with that, we'll conclude with this episode of the Classics. Join me again next week for probably another edition of the Classics. And until then, go out and enjoy yourself a good comic book. If you can, try to find The Rocketeer, The Complete Adventures, because that is a true classic.